As my elder makes his way this way. Like Greg, I've been here a while now. I first visited Bellevue in August of '94. Linda and David were visiting with her folks up in Ohio, and we'd been looking for a church family for some time, and I got to the service just before it started, and I kind of wiggled in the back row there at Beethoven, sat out, and we stood to sing the first hymn, and I picked the hymnal up, and I'm singing, and this gray-haired fellow in front of me turned around during the fellowship time and said, "You sing tenor?" I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "I got a job for you. My brother's getting ready to retire, and we need a new tenor in the quartet." And that's when I met Wayne. Come on up here, brother. Now, Wayne and I have a lot in common. We both love Southern gospel music. We have some things not in common. He's a Duke fan. No, don't. And then he had to become a State fan when his son went to State. So he's a split personality. Over the years of serving with my brother, some folks have said, you guys all just coordinate together and just think alike, and whatever those older guys think, that's what y'all do. But I'm here to tell you, my brother and I, as much as we love each other, we have disagreed at session meetings. But I do credit my brother Wayne and my brother Randy Everhart for teaching me how to be an elder. And in that, I'm still learning. He knew I'd do this.
I knew you'd do it.
This brother loves this congregation. He always has. And he has always loved each and every one of you. Even sometimes when we're not that lovable, he still loves us. He's been an example of an elder to me and to the other elders. Because as we have deliberated around that table sometimes until past midnight, he sometimes said, "Boys, we got to make a decision because I'm going home." But most of the time, he has been that one that has encouraged us to listen to one another, not camp out and so own our position that we're not hearing one another. And for that, I thank him. And in that, he has served you well. Now, for years, Wayne and I played softball together until I got too old. Or he stayed too dumb. I'm not sure which. But my brother, and recently he struggled a little bit because I've always felt this guy was being just so much more manly than me in everything he did. He struggled with some health issues. But God's blessed him. First, he blessed him with an awesome wife. Where you at, gal? Yeah, you do that. Blessed him with some boys that finally got married. And now a grandchild. There you go, Monty. But more than that, he's blessed us because, I don't know, I'm sure you've noticed that over the years, as each one of you have had children and grandchildren born into your families, that gal and this guy have become surrogate grandmas and grandpas to every one of them and loved every one of them well. So, as an example, I'm going to encourage you to follow my brother's lead here, to love one another well, as he has loved us. Thank you, brother. Thank you.
So I was asked to say a few words about Larry and our other brother, Larry. I've only been on the deacon board for 2 or 3 years and haven't been here all that long, so I haven't really been around these guys a whole lot to know a whole lot about them. So I called a few people and just asked them to tell me about Larry and Larry. And to summarize what they said that these two guys are true examples of what it means to be a servant of Christ and a servant to the body here at Meadowview. And that involves both their involvement with the deacon board and just outside of the deacon board, that they would do anything anybody asked them to do. So yeah, come on up here and flank me, you guys. Larry Perryman on this side, he joined the Deacons in 1997, so he served 22 years as a deacon. One thing I've appreciated about him in my short time here is just his attention to detail. I got involved in writing and rewriting some policies, and those of you that have used electronic media, you know that you do some cutting and pasting, and sometimes things don't turn out like you think they were. You know, even though you read over it, the wording's just not quite right, and I could always count on him that he would be going through and read every word of it and point out to say, this doesn't make sense right here, you need to change this or do this and that, so I appreciate that. I've also had the opportunity to work with some of the other deacons and Larry to building wheelchair ramps for people, and he was always there. And he would show up in this nice big pickup truck, had a cover on the back, and he would open it up and it looked like Lowe's on wheels. It was just full of every tool we need, high quality tools to help the job easier. He always had good experience and advice on how to do it. And Larry, I just want to say that we voted you emeritus status, but we did not vote emeritus status to your tools. And we'll probably be calling on them in the future, and you're certainly welcome to come along with them. We appreciate all that you've done for us. Larry McDaniel. I've heard a lot of stories about him over the years, a few years.
Not all true.
And I think you could sum it up by saying that he's got a heart for helping other people that's bigger than he is. I've heard stories about him from being on top of roofs, helping people find water leaks, to being underneath the house in a 2-foot crawl space trying to do something with plumbing. So try and imagine that. I heard there was a cramp involved too, but I'm not going to get into all that. Larry ended his service. He started in 2004. So he ended his service in December, so he served 15 years with the Deacons. And first time I saw him in January, he came up to me and handed me 2 keys that the Deacons have to get in and out here and said, I don't need these anymore. And I looked at those keys and they were probably as worn out as any set of keys I've ever seen, just smooth on the sides. And I said, okay. Well, a few days later, I saw Mark Arrowwood and I went up and said, Mark, Larry gave me his keys back. Here they are. And Mark said, well, what did he do that for? And I said, well, he's not a deacon anymore. I guess he doesn't need them. And Mark said, okay, and went on his way. Well, I saw Mark about 2 weeks later, and he came up to me and said, well, Larry's got his keys back. And I said, what happened? He said, well, he had to come out here to the church and change out a water heater that was leaking. So I guess he's going to be one of those guys that retirement to him means he just doesn't have to come to the Monday evening meetings for us. Larry, thank you for all you've done for us and other people, and God bless both of you.